Hi, everyone. So I'm Christina. I'm the founder of the Makers Nation. We're an organization that seeks to bring together the art, design, tech, and maker communities in cities around the world. And we do so a number of ways. One of the core things we do is we have a Makers Digest that goes out every Monday in 9 cities around the world. We're expanding to another 7 this month. And basically, this gives you an idea of who the local makers are in your city and where you can go to get hands-on and creative and to really engage with that side of your city. We also do a survey every year of 100 maker spaces around the world to find out how their businesses are operating and if they're successful and how well integrated they feel in the rest of the creative parts of their city. We also do some fun things. This is a map we did of Toronto that has some maker spaces that you can go to and get hands-on. We printed out the maps and put them in our transit depots around the city. So that's what we do during the day, and I'm happy to talk to anyone about it for the rest of the time here, but right now I'm here to talk to you about my soapbox issue of the moment, and that is that I want adults to play more. And I'm going to sort of paint a picture of how we got here, and there's 2 stories that I'm going to tell. One is around the BattleBot Royale, and one has to do with hopscotch. So a BattleBot Royale is an event that I ran when I first moved back to Toronto. I had been living in San Francisco for 3 years, and I'll admit that's sort of the never land of cities, where any month you'll have a parade of adults dressed up in various costumes walking through the streets. And so when the Toronto Tool Library approached me to do a BattleBot Royale, I was really excited, and of course I thought it was going to be these types of individuals who would be attending this workshop. Tinkerers, hackers, people who want to take things apart, put them back together again. So I stocked up on candy and Red Bull, and we were good to go. So you can imagine my surprise when it turned out to be this gentleman right here who took home first prize, and I was completely baffled. The entire invitation said that there would be limited supervision, you would have access to the entire makerspace, including heavy machinery, an electronics bench, soldering irons, and you were tasked with creating a bot that would go through different challenges and then fend off other bots, and the last bot standing would win. All of the people who attended and were participants in this were from grades 4 to grade 6. No idea how this happened. Started talking to some friends about it, and they said, well, if you make it about transferable work skills, then you have adults coming out in droves. If you say fun, play, creativity, you're going to get kids. Now, when did we get to the point where work and play are living in separate worlds and that we can somehow outgrow play? So I became a little obsessed with this. And really, if you're talking about transferable work skills, these are just some of the characteristics that you develop through play. And I don't know about you guys, but I would like to work with these individuals. They sound lovely. So at this point, I'm not sure if anyone has a piece of paper and a pencil with them. If you do, if you can grab it really quickly, we're going to do a little activity. Does anybody have it? If you put your hands up if you have one. Okay, so the people who have a pen and paper, if you can share with other people, that's great. But what I'm going to do is in the next 20 seconds, I'm going to ask you to turn to your neighbor and draw their portrait really quickly. So we'll start the clock now. If you can start drawing, I'll start counting in my head. It's 10 seconds. And stop. Now reveal your masterpiece. So what you're probably hearing is a little bit of nervous laughter and some apologies. So every time you do this activity with adults, you get the same thing, nervous laughter and apologies, because we have all grown up to realize that we're afraid of the judgment of others. Everyone just had 20 seconds, but they were trying to do their best work. If you do it with kids, doesn't matter how much time they have, they'll turn around and say, look what I made. And they're really excited. Adults are always like, oh, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't look like you. I'm really sorry. And so it's really interesting. And so I sort of kept diving into this and adults and play and what that relationship looks like. And it brings us to hopscotch. So anyone who doesn't know about hopscotch, it's basically a game that you can play on the street, and you draw this formation with chalk, and then you're meant to like hop through the numbers. So it's really simple, really basic. And I decided one day that I was going to go down to the Embarcadero in San Francisco, which is a highly foot-trafficked area, and create a pop-up PlayStation. And what this consisted of was this sign posted to a pole and a large hopscotch that I drew in chalk, and then myself sitting a few feet away on a bench with a video camera. And I just wanted to see what would happen. And so obviously kids immediately saw it. They didn't ask any questions, no idea where this hopscotch came from or what it's doing in their lives, but they're excited. So they were jumping, they were doing cartwheels, any kid that came across it, they were into it. The adults, however, you would see a woman walking with her latte who would sort of have a knowing smile at the hopscotch and then kind of do a little bit, but not really. And then some adults started really getting into it, and there was a pattern that if an adult was in viewing distance of another adult playing on the hopscotch, they were more likely to do the hopscotch. But if you didn't have any adults playing, then there would be a much longer gap. So these two are actually two of my favorites who participated. So this is a security guard with the Embarcadero who walked over and said, "I think we have a situation here," and was looking around. I, of course, did not ask if I was allowed to draw on the Embarcadero. And so she handed her cell phone over to her partner, who then filmed her doing the hopscotch. And this gentleman, you can see him in the background of this photo, as well as the background of this photo. He was standing there for about as long as I was there, and at one point sort of looked around and no one was looking, and he did the hopscotch, and basically my heart exploded. I was so excited. So I posted this online, edited it down, just trying to make a little bit of a statement around being more playful and recognizing when you're walking away from playful opportunities. And a gallery contacted me in Toronto and said that they were doing something for Nuit Blanche, which is an art festival in Toronto that happens overnight. Their theme was play, and so they asked if I would do something. And I said, well, instead of just drawing a hopscotch, what if I created one that lit up because it's at night? She said, it's a great idea. You can make a whole playground. Perfect. Now would be a great time to tell you that I had no idea how to work with electronics. I didn't know how to make it light up. I also didn't know any woodworking skills, so wasn't sure how I was going to be building these things. This is actually our first prototype when I was trying to spatially see exactly what I was getting myself into, of how high you were able to jump up for a hopscotch, and this is blocks of wood and a piece of paper from my sketchbook, which miraculously turned into an 8-foot-long light-up hopscotch. So this is made out of plexiglass and wood and has LEDs around the outside, so when you stepped on the square, it would light up. Again, kids all over it. Adults would ask. It was an art festival, so not everything was interactive, and they'd say, are we allowed to, will it hold me? And so as soon as you said yes, they were all over it. We also made a teeter-totter that had LEDs going up and down, so as you went, the lights would chase you. And again, built with the help of a makerspace. And so the point of this is that I really think that the maker movement and what's happening within the access to technology is the gateway to get adults to play more. Because if I handed you a canvas, it's really easy to say, I'm not an artist, I'm not the creative type, I don't know how to make that masterpiece. But if I hand you a piece of technology, there's no saying what you're going to create with it, and it's up to your imagination, and anyone can do that. So just to wrap up, if you want to talk about how playful your city is, or get involved as a curator, we're looking to expand the digest in other places as well. And the moral of the story is don't forget to play. And I'm Christina, and that's how you can contact me. Thanks.